And a good morning to you. Grab another cup of coffee and a croissant, and welcome to the show. The Back Nine Boys Golf Show is brought to you by Mizuno Golf, Reach Beyond, by Sea Palms Resort. Try their new place called Gsga, where all the folks are gathering and eating great food, by Club Car, the global leader in golf utility and fun personal vehicles, and by Bridgestone Golf, play the ball that fits you, and by the RSM, proud sponsor of the RSM Classic, giving back to our communities. On the show, we're going to talk with Jeff Phages of the Gsga about the 2021 highlights that include very high participation in golf this year and what's coming up for 2022 that includes some new events. Then we'll talk with Lpga caddy Jeff King about caddying all over the world, including the Olympics, and being an owner of a company. And then finally, we'll talk with David Bass of David Bass Golf about how important fittings are to your game, to improving, and his growing company, Quantum Force Golf. But first up, Jeff Phages of the Gsga. Good morning, Jeff, and welcome to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
Hey, good morning, Rich. Appreciate you having me on the show. Excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you. And despite all the challenges over the last 18, 20 months, how has participation of golf been across the state?
Participation has been unbelievable. People have been so excited to get out and play. Golf being an outdoor sport provides a sense of safety and security for a lot of people during the pandemic. And we have just seen record numbers across the board in so many of our competitions over the last 18 months. It's been incredible, and we're very, very thankful for that.
I've also read some articles that say more people are walking rather than riding in carts, obviously for the exercise, but also because it becomes more enjoyable for them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, golf was it was a walking sport way back when it was created. We didn't have golf carts, and certainly there's the health aspect of it. I prefer to walk anytime I can. Last year, for all of our competitions, we were in single player carts just for the safety aspect of it with COVID. But this year we've gone back to 2 players per cart for our competitions, but we have seen an increase, definitely, like you said, in people that are now walking in the events, and that's great. It's great to see.
So in the Gsga events, can people walk?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So they can use carts or they can carry their own bags, whichever they prefer.
Yeah, we do not require players to be in carts. They can share a cart with their partner in their group. They can take a push cart if they prefer. They can tote their bag. They can have a caddy. All of that is acceptable, and as long as we can manage our job and keep everybody on their pace of play, it's a good day.
Yeah, pace of play is always an issue, but we'll not bring that up as a subject. But let's talk about 2021 highlights. What were some of the big highlights besides some great participation despite the pandemic?
Sure. One of the biggest highlights was we conducted the 100th Georgia Amateur Championship this year. That was at Cherokee Town and Country Club in Atlanta. We had a record number of entries. We had over 900 people.
Wow.
Gsga members from across the state of Georgia that signed up to try and qualify and be one of 144 players that played in the championship. It was won by Harris Barth, who's a teenager here in the metro Atlanta area. Shot 276, 8 under, and he became just the 5th player 17 years old or younger to win the championship, which was, of course, first won by Bobby Jones at the age of 14 back in 1916.
And you also have entered into an agreement with the Georgia Women's Golf Association. That's a big deal for y'all and for them.
It's super. I mean, we have been able to take over administrative and operational operations of the Georgia Women's Amateur Championships. Now we have both the men's state amateur and the women's state amateur. This year that was played at Gsga Country Club up in Rome. And Jenny Bay, who's now a senior, she plays at UGA. She won that. She had just an unbelievable summer this year. She won the Georgia Women's Open as well. And in winning the Georgia Women's Am, she became only the 2nd player in history, in our Gsga competitions history, to win the women's amateur, our women's match play championship, and the girls championship. And she joined some pretty elite company in doing that. Mariah Stackhouse, who's currently on the Lpga tour, is the only other person to have won those 3 major championships that we've run.
Jeff, is the GSGA, you obviously, are you impressed with the way that some of these college kids, and I call them kids because they are, um, but they're playing unbelievable golf. Their mental aspect of the game, their physical aspects of the game are just far and above what they were when I was that age.
It's absolutely amazing to see the growth that juniors have made and how their skills on so many levels have progressed. I've been with GSGA for over 18 years now, and I remember back to my first year in our girls championship, we had about 20 or 30 players that participated in it, and you might have a small handful. You can count on
Right.
one hand the number of players that were actually competing for the championship. But these days, we've got close to 80 girls competing in that event, and
Wow.
the vast majority of them are all competing at a very, very high level. It's so great to see, and the same thing with our junior boys as well. We've got over 200 boys from across the state that are trying to qualify for our state junior championship. It's amazing to see the
It
development.
It really is. And, if you look out on the ranges, you see these young people playing and they all kind of look about the same. I mean, they're tall, they're thin. I mean, around here we call them flat bellies, but it's just I'm just thrilled to see these kids go out there and play, and they are just so good. Well, let's
Yep,
talk about the wrap up of
thrilled, and makes me jealous too.
Oh, heck yeah. Heck yeah. The last major competition was the Tournament of Champions. That obviously went well. You had 120 players. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the Tournament of Champions is a relatively new event for us. Just the third edition that we've played this particular event, and it's kind of unique in that we welcome club champions from our GSGA member clubs around the state to compete against one another to crown a club state champion. So we have 4 different divisions. So we have men's club champions, women's, senior men's, and senior women's. And within those 4 divisions, we take um, 40 players or 30 players, and they compete against one another. It's really a unique event, and we get players that play in that don't normally compete in our GSGA championships. Maybe they only enjoy playing in their club events, so they maybe venture a little bit outside of their comfort zone and go to the state level and have a great experience. And it was a very successful event and received a lot of great feedback from that.
Obviously, a great 2021, and looks like from what you and I've kind of talked about, looks like 2022 is going to be even better.
Oh, we're really excited. We've got a great year with amazing sites on the calendar. Everything that we've got confirmed to date, and we're about 85% complete with our championship schedule.
Wow.
Everything is out on our GSGA website right now. So if you go to gsga.org, check out our calendar of events, you'll be able to see the sites and dates for a lot of our major championships.
And you've got a mixed team championship right here at Sea Island. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, we're super excited for that. The season kicks off with our mixed team championship at Sea Island Golf Club. That's being played March 19th and 20th. We were there this year in 2021, super popular this year. We had a massive wait list. It was first come, first serve. We have both gross and net divisions in it. It's a mixed team event where we do 1 round of modified alternate shot and 1 round of 4-ball. And the great thing about 2021 and being out at Sea Island this past year was that we were able to play 2 of their 3 golf courses. We played the modified alternate shot on the Plantation course, which just went through a renovation a few years ago, and that was incredible having the opportunity to play that. And then we played the 4-ball on the Seaside course, which has so much history. Both courses, that's obviously where the RSM Classic is played, and gives a lot of our GSGA members to get down there and have a great time and play those wonderful golf courses.
Well, tell us about the Georgia Amateur coming up at Deer Creek and the Georgia Women's Amateur at Sugarloaf.
Yes, the 101st Georgia Amateur is going to be played at the Landings Club at Deer Creek in Savannah, host of the Korn Ferry Tour's Club Car Championship. The club just hosted qualifying school for the Korn Ferry Tour. Really excited to get back down there. The last time the Landings Club hosted the state amateur was back in 2010, and the real unique thing about that championship was that was won by Lee Knox of Augusta.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He played in the final group, the final round with his father, Jeff Knox, who many people may know. And then our women's amateurs coming up at TPC Sugarloaf here up in Duluth, where the Mitsubishi Electric Classic is. That's played on the PGA Champions Tour. So we've got two great sites. Really looking forward to a super year of competitions. Like I said, everything, all the details are on our website, gsga.org, and look forward to another great year with great participation.
Jeff, how do people that belong to GSGA qualify for some of the events? I know it's all explained on the website, but
Yeah, there's a number of different ways. A lot of our events, some of them are first come, first serve. Some of them are done by handicap index. One of the things we started last year, which will be expanding in 2022, is our one-day series, which is a season-long one-day series of events that are competitive, which we do gross and net scoring. There's multiple different divisions, so people of all different skill levels can compete in them. Lots of different opportunities for GSGA members of varying skill levels. We don't just cater anymore just to the elite level amateurs. We're trying to provide opportunities for players and members of all different skill levels.
well, it just sounds like another great year coming up for GSGA. Jeff, thanks for being with us, and hopefully we'll see you somewhere around here.
Absolutely. I'll plan on being down there in March for that team championship, and maybe we can hook up sometime down there.
We definitely will do that. Thanks, Jeff, for being with us.
All right. Thanks, Rich.
Okay. Jeff Phages of GSGA talking about the big highlights from this year and coming up for next year. Our next guest is going to be Jeff King, who turned a hobby into a business even while he was caddying. We'll be back on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
This is John Smoltz, and you're listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. Our next guest is a caddy and a business owner. Good combination, of course. Good morning, Jeff King. Welcome to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'll tell you, it's pretty dang good.
Well, I'm pretty dang happy that it's good for you. That's great. Hey, let's talk a little bit about your caddying before we talk about your business. But how is it caddying on the LPGA Tour compared to the PGA Tour?
Yeah, it's a common question, I think. It's just a different. It's a different animal. Anywhere from they hit it farther. I think their practice. I don't know. Their practice management is a little different. I think guys tend to just go out there with the attitude of, I got it. Let's go play. And the girls they tend to be a little bit more practice oriented at tournaments. So I think that guys are if they don't. I'm not saying everybody, but don't have it. They know they don't have it. And they'll sit out there and grind it out for a little bit. And if that's what they got to play with, that's what they play with. But I think the girls practice quite a bit more than the guys, which is fine. That's when you want to be good or be the best at anything, you're going to tend to do that. But I think that would probably be the biggest difference. Okay.
Well, you've caddied all over the world. You were at the Olympics. How was that?
The Olympics, I heard Rory say, what he say? You're playing for a different reason, And I was on Chinese Taipei's team. I've been on a part of that program for a long time through different girls, but it was different that you go out. It was, it's not just. It wasn't just golf. It's like these people are. There's so much pride. It was right. It was cool, to walk around and see. You're walking around with the best athletes in the world, because every week to week you're just okay. These are the best golfers, and you get used to that, by seeing everybody and being around everybody.
Sure.
It's like you walk around and you walk into the cafeteria and you see a 7-foot girl. It's like okay. She's one of the best volleyball players in the world. It was that sense
right
of they worked all their lives to be there, so you kind of wanted to, you were part of something special. So it was awesome. It was really cool. I was glad I got to do it.
So it's kind of like an all-star team for golf from each country.
Yeah. And it was, I didn't even know that some of the girls were from the countries they were from, to be honest with you. I was walking around, and I see these people every week, and we got there a little bit early, and we got to watch the guys play the final round, and I walked around and I talked to, because I still know a lot of those guys out there. And it was everybody's friends, but I don't know how, it was kind of week to week, you're doing battle, with against each other. But when you're battling for Spain or you're battling for Denmark, it was everybody wants you to win that medal, but from the swimming team to the track and field team. Right.
I mean, when you're playing on regular tournaments for either tour, you got next week, the week after, and you got 25 more weeks. When you're playing for the Olympics, you got 4 days. That's it.
You got one chance, and the pride of putting that medal around your neck it's unparalleled.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, I didn't, I knew it was going to be great, and I didn't know what to expect, but it was way different than what I thought. You kind of hear people go, well, it's the Olympics, like, the golfer, it just started being an Olympic sport. Like nobody really cares. It's like, I didn't see 1 ounce of it. Every single person cared because of the country. It was, I thought it was going to be a little bit less, I don't know, I wouldn't say stressful, a little bit less, I thought people would be focused, not as hard as they were. It was.
Yeah, they really got to start. I mean, because it's every 4 years. and you're playing for your country. It's just a whole lot different. So let me ask you this. Why does it seem that the caddies on the LPGA Tour help the pros read putts more than the guys on the PGA Tour?
Well, it's not only reading putts. You do a lot more of everything. I mean,
Okay.
I've had more than one, several where, I mean, it's every shot, it's,
Why is that?
what do you, I can't answer it. I think it's the way they were brought up. It was like they were being told to do something by somebody, whether it's a parent, a coach, everything they do, every chip shot, every full shot, it's 7-iron, 3 yards off a 7-iron at the tree right of the flag, and it's, you just kind of, if that's the way it is, it's kind of like you just get in the golden tee mode, it's
Right.
okay, here's the shot we got to play. And you're not even asked. And I think that's why there's more turnaround on the LPGA Tour as well, because, when you're wrong, it's on you.
Right. Right.
And as is in golf, man or women, the caddies get, pointed at, whether it's their fault or not. But you're not just carrying the golf bag. You're the wingman, and part of their job is to, when they vent, it's going to help them play better. And you're the only person out there with them. So, sometimes you are the beanbag. And if you don't have thick enough skin to understand that, then, caddying's not probably your line of work. But we all understand, the guys who've been out there a while, that's part of the job. And when you're wrong, you're wrong. Nobody needs to tell me if I'm wrong. I'm the first person to know it. Nobody feels worse than me. But there's very few times where you do, in between clubs, and you tell them that it is a 6-iron, they hit it to 2 feet. There's very few times where you get the, hey, that was a good club.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
You're right.
Right. You always get told when you're wrong. You don't necessarily get the credit when you're right.
Yeah, and that's part of it too. Hey, I don't care. As long as we're making birdies, I don't care who's right. Together, we're trying to make the right decision and get that sucker in there for a chance. So.
All right. So let's now change from your hobby that is now a business. You and I talked a long time ago when you kind of first started King Made Jerky. Quickly tell our listeners a little bit about how you got started and where it is now.
It started as kind of an unintentional accident, just making stuff in my kitchen from Googling a recipe. I took it on the road, a couple tournaments, and I never asked one person to buy anything, eat anything. They just got a hold of it from seeing me eat it, and everybody fell in love with it. They kept telling me it was the best jerky they ever had. I don't know how I did that specifically, but it just took off like wildfire. It's now the official jerky of the PGA Tour, and that's where we're at. That's all the guys are still supporting it. All the girls support it. It's a great product. It's healthy. It's low sodium, low sugar. I've been asked a lot how I accomplish those things, because in the world of beef jerky, salt is one of the biggest reasons people don't eat it. And,
right.
I didn't really have an answer for it, but I have a little bit better understanding now. But yeah, we're super happy. We just came out with some new products, actually, some meat sticks. So I'm really happy with the way they came out, because I never really was a stick person, but it's so much more convenient to eat on the go, especially in golf. I mean, you can eat the thing in 3 or 4 bites, but I think, again, I was never really a stick fan because they were all kind of greasy in the inside. I don't know. I just had a vision that they were never good. And we put some stuff together that's a lot less greasy, a lot more healthy. And I've gotten great feedback from everybody that's had them over the last couple of months since they come out. So yeah, it's exciting stuff.
It's kind of working. All right. Give us the website so our listeners can get more familiar with King Made Jerky.
That is kingmadejerky.com.
Hey.
As is.
Easy. Easy.
Yeah.
How much protein are there in the sticks now, Jeff?
That's a great question. I believe 11, 12 grams, and there's 3 of them, so it differs. so it's ample. I've seen, in performing when you're out there,
Right.
kind of burning off stuff. I've seen the max is 5. I've seen one person eat 5 sticks during a round.
Wow.
But,
Wow.
you eat one per side, and it's good. Jerky's great. Don't get me wrong, and it's awesome and it's healthy and all that good stuff. But
Right.
at the end of the day, when the guy's reaching in my bib to grab the bag back, to finish it off after hitting a shot, these things, it's right off the tee box. Boom,
Yeah. Heck
pound
yeah.
it out, and by the time you get to the first shot, it's gone. And they don't mess around with the jerky either. It's when it's open, the whole bag's going down. It's not like it goes back in the golf bag open. So
Yeah.
they're gonna finish whatever you put in their hand, whether it's a bag of sticks. So a little more convenient.
Yeah. Are you going to go to the
like
PGA show, Jeff?
What's that?
Are you going to go to the PGA show?
I don't believe so. I think I'll be caddying that week.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad you're going to be busy.
Yeah.
I'll miss not seeing you at the PGA show, but I'd love catching up, and thanks for being with us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I hope all is going well on your end as well, and we'll see you again soon.
I hope so. Jeff King made jerky and a caddy. Be well, travel safe, and we will talk soon. Thanks for being with us. Next up is going to be David Bass of David Bass Golf. You won't want to miss that. He's got a lot of things to talk about, including his own brand of clubs. But we also don't want you to miss knowing about what's going on at Mizuno. Mizuno Golf has always had the best irons. The JPX 921 series offers feel and performance. The new STG 220 driver offers maximum adjustability, and you can complete your bag with their brand new T22 wedges. They feature 3 finishes, 4 unique sole grinds to improve your short game. But basically, check out all that's new with Mizuno at MizunoGolf.com. Nothing feels like Mizuno, so reach beyond.
Dottie Pepper with CBS Sports, and you are listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. You know, fittings are very important to be able to improve your golf game, and bringing Persimmon Clubs back to life is his passion. And he now has a new golf company. That's our next guest, good friend David Bass. Good morning, David. How are you?
Hey, Rich, what's going on, man?
Not much. You've got a lot going on. I mean, when you and I first met several years ago up in North Carolina, you were doing fittings and, you know, kind of recommending clubs and stuff. And we're going to get into that. But I want to talk about all the other things that you're doing too. But first, when people come to you for fittings, what are the top two things that they say that they want?
First of all, they want to know if the equipment they have already in their bag is acceptable for what their experience is and what their goals are.
Okay.
I'm always asking somebody, well, what would you like to shoot? And what's your aspirations for playing golf? And my end goal is to align the proper equipment to fit their body type and their physical restrictions. And then at some point in time during the fitting, we put them on cameras and we do a little bit of a swing analysis so we can point them in the right direction of solid fundamentals.
Do most golfers, David?
You go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Do most golfers really know what they need to do about their swing, what they're doing wrong? Do they mostly think they're doing a lot of things right, but a couple of things wrong, and they just want you to quickly in one session say, do this, and they leave and go out and just try and be better?
The reality is that most golfers have either never had a golf lesson or they've never had a good golf lesson.
Ah, good point. Very big difference.
Yeah, I'm not actually slighting any other golf instructors. It's just that people, by and large, shy away from getting anybody to help them because they feel embarrassed, or they think they know what they're doing, but what they're doing is completely different from what needs to be done. Does that make sense?
It definitely does. I think there's a lot of golfers. I hate to see myself on video because I know my swing is not what I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes, and this is why many years ago I discovered that you can't separate fitting from swing analysis, because you need to be able to understand what I call the chicken or egg, the cause and effect of the golf swing in order to fit somebody. And as someone's fundamentals improve, the fitting needs change. It does not change their natural rhythm and their natural tempo. It does not change their body mass index or their body measurements, but it could change the shaft load considerably, and also the lie angles and that type of stuff. It can change considerably based on somebody's improvement.
Gotcha. Okay. So as we get older and if we've taken a few lessons, do you recommend going back and kind of going through your bag again and maybe see if you need a shaft change because you've gotten older and your swing speed's gotten slower?
Yes, no question about that. To
Okay.
make sure that everything in your bag matches. And the beautiful thing about today is that you can replace a 3 hybrid with a 7 wood. You can replace a 5 hybrid with a 9 wood. There are things that you have today available that you didn't have 30 years ago to make golf a lot more fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my goal is to take every club out of the bag that someone has an issue with hitting, and I want every club in the bag to be a club that somebody loves.
Great question. Now, there's a lot of instructors that try and change your swing, and there's a lot of instructors that feel you don't really change, you try to improve what they have already been doing. What are your comments about that?
Well, everything starts with solid fundamentals. The question is this: can a poorly fitted set of golf clubs affect the performance of a fundamentally sound golf swing? And that's the second question is: can properly fitted golf equipment affect the performance of a less than fundamentally sound golf swing? And the answer to both of them is correct. The average person doesn't know if their golf clubs fit them. And the problem is that when you combine some of these modern golf clubs that have less loft, like stronger lofts, and then the company does something which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They put shafts in them that have very low kick points.
Right.
So you have a strong loft, but you have a shaft designed to hit the ball straight up in the air. And the result is that the average person can't hit it in a 5-acre field.
Gotcha.
So the way, if the club maker needs to understand the functionality or the design parameters of the equipment he's selling or he's recommending, you also have to understand the design parameters of the equipment that the person walks in with, so you know how to change it.
Right. And by walking in with a set of clubs, you can kind of tell if they're really seriously into it, how old their clubs are, and that could be a big reason. But you also know how serious they are about the game based on what they bring you in.
Well, I mean, I've known people that have had 30-year-old set of clubs and they're scratch golfers, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I've never had anybody in 50 years, no matter who you are, tour player or college player or weekend golfer, I've never had one customer to come in with a set of clubs and I'm going like, okay, these things are perfect. You can leave now.
Right.
It doesn't happen. There's always something. If I go through your bag and I check the lengths and the frequencies and the swing weights and all the things that we check, there's always something that I can say, if we did this, it would make a big difference.
Those are the kind of things that a lot of people need to hear in order to really, really improve. Because, as you said, there's somebody playing clubs that are 30 years old and they're still scratch, but there are a lot of people out there that buy the latest and greatest, what they see on TV, what their favorite pro is playing, and it doesn't work for them.
Yes, and what people need to understand about fitting is it's not a one-shot thing. You can't walk into a store and get fitted and leave.
Right.
Sometimes the fitting process takes 3 or 4 trips. To make sure somebody's clubs are totally working, I may build a couple of different demos and have them come back, and we go to the golf course and we hit balls. And then, if I'm not satisfied, I'll build another demo. I'm going to make sure that when I build that set of clubs for someone, I'm seeing the launch I'm looking for and I'm hearing the sound I'm looking for.
All right. You said earlier something about the clubs that people are using. If they have trouble hitting irons like they used to, you would recommend going to a hybrid that was not available many years ago, but is now in a lot of different lofts. Why is it that some people can hit hybrids better than they hit their irons?
It's all about the center of gravity. Center of gravity is lower and it launches the golf ball, but a hybrid is never going to replace a fairway wood, which has a lower center of gravity. So in other words, if I gave you a 9 wood, you would hit the 9 wood considerably better, typically, than you would a 5 hybrid, and a 7 wood better than a 4 hybrid. For some golfers, hybrids don't work.
Right.
And for other golfers, hybrids do work. But typically, the slower the swing speed, we will tend to lean toward fairway woods. 7 wood, 9 wood,
okay,
even an 11 wood. If we need, in other words, the less irons as possible with slower swing speeds.
Okay. And what about hybrids? What if they have more hybrids than they do irons?
It depends on the swing speed. If somebody has a reasonably aggressive swing speed, we can put a 3 hybrid or a 4 hybrid in the bag.
Okay.
If their swing speed is, 79 miles an hour or 74 miles an hour, I'm going to start at the 5 hybrid. I may go to a 6 hybrid.
Right. Gotcha.
Because I want to be able to eliminate the medium to long irons if possible, so the person doesn't have to stand back there on a long par 3 or an approach shot and struggle to get the ball in the air.
Well, struggling is one of those things that I think a lot of people think comes with the game of golf. But David, we want to talk a little bit more about what brands of clubs you're recommending, a little bit more about your Persimmon passion and your golf company. We'll do that after we take a quick break. So we'll be back with David Bass of David Bass Golf right after we tell you about one of our favorites and our passions. It's deep dish pizza from CJ's Italian Restaurant. Check out their full menu at cjsitalianrestaurant.com. And I'll tell you, their deep dish is incredible. Their thin crust is also good. There is nothing like it. It's one of my favorites. They've got a lot of specials going on, including those that help the elementary schools around the area. The elementary kids and the teachers kind of come up with the ingredients that they want to put in there. And their monthly specials, if you pick those, some of the proceeds goes back to the local elementary schools. Great birthday parties for kids. You call up and ask CJ's what they do, how they do it. It could be a new area that you could take your kid for a birthday party. I know Gabe would enjoy it, but it's a family-owned small business. Everything is made fresh every day. So check out their full menu and everything about it. It's very eclectic. I love it. CJ's Italian Restaurant. Check it out at cjsitalianrestaurant.com.
Hal Sutton here. You're listening to the Back Nine Boys here today.
Rich Stiles here, and thank you, Hal, for that. All right, we're back with David Bass, David Bass Golf. Check it out at davidbassgolf.com. David, what brands of clubs have you been recommending recently to a lot of your players?
I still have a Mizuno account. Obviously, Mizuno is right now they're in a transition. Their new clubs are coming out the first of the year, so they won't have that much of a variety probably till February or March. I started fitting for a company called Sub 70, and Sub 70 is a company out of Chicago, and we're getting fittings. People driving from 2 and 3 hours away to get fitted for those. And obviously we have our own brand now, of course, I'll go back and say a lot of the clubs I sell are off of used club websites. A lot of my golfers come in, and I'll call them buy a used set of clubs from CallawayPreOwned.com or Second Swing,
Right.
and then we'll bring them in here. We'll take them apart and we'll customize them for the client.
Right.
And then we have our own brand, which is QuantumForceGolf.com or Quantum Force Golf. We have our own brand of putters and wedges that we are working on.
Well, I've got to tell you, I mean, I'm going to jump to that because you have been kind enough to send me a couple of wedges, and I will tell you they're the best wedges I've ever played. Most every time, if I hit it right, which is not all the time, but most of the time, if I hit it right, the ball checks and I can go for the pin where I wasn't able to do that before.
Yeah, we set the company out to have a quality product. If you buy most of your modern wedges, you're going to buy a soft stainless product. And these wedges are 10-20 carbon steel. And for anybody that doesn't know what that is, that's the same material they used to make the old McGregors and the old Wilsons out of. I mean, you literally have to use masking tape around the hosels and paper towel around the heads just to keep from, when you have to adjust them, just to keep from nicking them because they're so soft. And we did a lot of work on the soles. We're in the process now of redesigning our wedges to come out with a new version next year. And then on the putters, we've amassed a pretty good team of people this year. The pandemic allowed us to back up a little bit and rethink everything. We've got new website people. We got new marketing people. We've got people doing tests, sending putters out for tests. We've got a science lab that we're working with. We got a custom paint shop that can custom paint a putter any color you want, any look you want. So personalization and customization is critical.
Sounds like it's growing. What else is going to happen for you in 2022? I mean, with this team, you can expand Quantum Force Golf a lot more than what you have with the wedges and now offering more with the putters.
Yes, that's our goal. Our goal is we're putting a big business plan together for the next 2 years. And our goal is to launch again this spring and then keep rocking from there. And we've been sending a lot of surveys out. People have been using our product. We've got virtually 100% positive on the playability.
Right.
Some people commented on some colors, so we're going to go out, offer several other colors. We have 3 or 4 prototype models that have never even been seen by the public that are fantastic. So that's what's coming down the line.
Well, it sounds like an exciting time for you. I know this has been something that has been a passion of yours, and another passion of yours is the Persimmon Clubs. And the other day when I called you, you said, I've been in the shop all morning. This has just become something that you just fell in love with again, and you're doing some great work there.
Well, the good news is that when over the last 20 years, I didn't throw all my stuff away. I kept it in storage. But back in the 90s, the 80s and 90s, I mean, sometimes we would do 250 to 500 refinishes a week on wooden clubs. And so I got pretty good at it.
Right.
And now it's turned back into a passion. And a lot of these guys across the country are finding their granddad's clubs or their dad's clubs, or they're buying a used set off eBay, and they say, I got this set, and or they're my dad's clubs and they were in storage. Can you restore them for me? So sometimes it's a sentimental thing, and sometimes it's just a guy who has a big collection and he wants to upgrade some product that he found that needs a little TLC, and that's our job. Our job is to bring it back as close as possible to the original condition, but at the same time, meet the expectations of the client.
I know you've been doing this a long time with David Bass Golf, and your passion and your ability to grow and what you're doing with Quantum Force, to me, I'm thrilled for you, because I know this is where you wanted to go a long time ago, and now you're kind of on that step to just doing a lot of neat things. Speaking of, are you going to go to the PGA show in January?
Yes, sir. I'm planning to go. I've got some of our team members going to go down together.
And you're just going to go and kind of visit, or are you going to set up a booth?
No, we won't have a booth. We'll do a lot of networking, which we always do. Meet people and meet with the vendors.
You know, it's an interesting aspect. I know what I've read is that some of the bigger companies like Callaway and Titleist and FootJoy are not going. And I think that's going to be an interesting PGA show coming up in January.
Yeah, it does take away from it, but it's a reality in economics because of the fact that even though the golf business has been booming, which you would think it would be the other way around. Even during the pandemic, the golf business has been one of the few businesses that have been great.
Yeah.
But I mean, my life is good. I'm going to leave here in a few minutes and go work with a couple of high school kids.
Awesome.
That have aspirations of playing in college. And, what could be better than to work on Persimmon Woods, walk out of your shop and give lessons to young men and young ladies that want to play better and then come right back and work on Persimmon Woods. I mean,
the only thing better would be put so old people in there. David, thank you for being with us. I love it. Have a great day.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for being with us on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show right here on ESPN Coastal.
Listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show with Rich Stiles. Go to back9boys.com for all things golf whenever you want it. We'll be back next week with an all-new Back Nine Boys at back9boys.com.